Hi, I'm Cindy McCann, better known as Miss Cindy to my students. I taught school for 34 years in Los Angeles Unified School District. 27 of those years were spent in special education preschool. For a vast majority of my career, I worked with children with autism, and this is where my passion evolved. You see, one of the hallmark characteristics of autism is difficulty in forming connections. Kids with autism are frequently described as being aloof or in their own world. They may also hyper-focus on subjects or topics like trains, for instance, making it difficult for their peers to relate. This not only concerned me, it consumed me. It was in observing these moments of disconnect that I became obsessed with what I affectionately began referring to as cracking the connection code. I became driven to search for ways that I could more genuinely connect with a child, and it was equally important for me to enhance the child's ability to relate to their peers and families. And that's when I began to notice something. I noticed the cracks. What I mean by cracks are these unexpected moments when a child would drop their guard and you'd have a shared experience. What I discovered in my journey to crack the connection code are that these cracks, or unguarded moments, though sometimes hard to find, they're actually windows that we could slip through to create a connection that would make a difference. And cracks are everywhere. We just have to find them. We have to be willing to find them. Being present in the moment can often be one of the ways to crack the connection code. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation with another person and 2 minutes later you had no idea what they had said? What were they wearing? What did they look like? What color of eyes they had? Heck, what was their name? This has happened to me far too many times. I call this squirrel moments, where a squirrel would run by or a horn beeping in the distance would fully take my attention away from a conversation. And that's the complete opposite of being in the moment. I'm not formally diagnosed with attention deficit, but I am often friend diagnosed as ADD. In other words, I have many squirrel moments. So to enhance connections, I found out that we need to intentionally be in the moment. We need to take an interest in people and what they're saying, ask questions, give relevant responses, and in doing this, a genuine connection becomes a possibility. And that crack has begun. I remember a time when a parent of one of my students was rushing down the hallway, and she looked distraught and upset. So I stopped and I said, "Hello." And I said, "How are you doing?" And she said, I'm fine. I said, "Well, to tell you the truth, you don't look fine." I could see her face was fragile. And she said, "Cindy, I've been to 3 schools already today, and you're the first person to ask me how I am. And the truth is I'm falling apart." The crack just got bigger. We found a place to sit down and talk. We discussed some resources and some solutions for her children. And I could see as she calmed that she was gathering hope. My willingness to be present in that moment was the opening to a lifelong friendship. And 6 years later, I am affectionately referred to by this family as Auntie Cindy. And they will forever be part of my family. Validation. Let's talk a little bit about validation. Validation can be another way to crack the connection code. What is validation? To acknowledge another's perspective? To appreciate one's differences? In my world of teaching students with autism, validation required discovery. Discovering the cracks to be led into an often private world and passion. My first awareness came one rainy morning during the winter intercession. Let me tell you this beautiful story. It was a rainy day, and many of my students had been kept home. We ended up having a grand total of 5 students and my assistant and myself. As the students began exploring the classroom, Tad, a 4-year-old young boy with autism, kept going in and out of the coat closet. I looked at my assistant and I said, "I wonder what he likes about going in the closet." She shrugged her shoulders and she said, "I don't know, but I'm going to go find out." So she joined him in the closet. When she came out, she said, "He likes it because it's quiet." Tad was tickled that she had joined him in the closet, and for him, the validation began. He decided to invite each of us into this newly discovered fortress. One by one, he took each of us by the hand and put us in the coat closet. He closed the doors, and the darkness wrapped its arms around us like a warm blanket. Everyone was silent with anticipation and wonder. The light that seeped between the crack where the door closed was like a soft candlelight, allowing me to see the joy on Tad's face. A smile stretched from ear to ear. He was delighted. I was intoxicated with the sweetness of his innocence and the privilege to experience his world. Relishing the joy and the connection that we'd all just had, I thought, how can I simulate this extraordinary moment? I instinctively grabbed the classroom parachute, and together we made a tent. So on this beautiful, dark, rainy LA day, we snuggled comfortably into the subdued light of our rainbow tent, and the children began to interact as they shared toys they had chosen to bring into the newly created fort. This was Tad's crack. This crack was the validation that led to opening his heart, deepening his trust, and increasing his want to be part of the classroom family. As the year progressed, the crack broadened as Tad's tolerance grew for closer proximity, shared materials, turn-taking, and the fun of laughing with his friends. Though I could talk about numerous ways to crack the connection code, I want to emphasize one of my favorites, which is to inspire. Inspire on a daily basis. What does it mean to inspire? To praise, to uplift, to expand. It's all of that plus having an open heart and a willing spirit. Allowing your face to light up when a child enters a room, when anyone enters the room for that matter. I myself am inspired by kindness. Kindness expands the soul, opens connection cracks. One year, we decided to deliberately catch kids being good instead of getting after them for being naughty. So we bought these slap-on bracelets that were Superman and Superwoman. And in the beginning, each time a child did a kind act, we interrupted the day for a public announcement. Attention, ladies and gentlemen! I just saw Joey share his magnetic blocks with Ella. Please give him a cheer. At that point, Joey was ceremoniously awarded the superhero bracelet, which he proudly wore for 10 minutes. At first, the kids were just doing acts of kindness just to wear the bracelet. They were knocking themselves out just to have the bracelet. But then, time passed, and sincerity crept into their actions. We often forgot about the bracelets. Even the students forgot about the bracelets. What we noticed was that kindness became a value. It became second nature, and that group of students had an undeniable connection. It became obvious even to the students that they had cracked the connection code. They understood in their hearts that kindness was the crack to the connection code. As you leave this event today, take a moment, look around, be present, open your heart to the awareness of cracks. Join me in cracking the connection code. Thank you.